me. Woo! Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. So, let's talk a little bit about my hair. So, I decided a couple of videos ago, I was like, you know what? I am not feeling the curling iron. I'm not feeling the blow dry. I'm not feeling anything today. And I know my pandas love me so much, they're going to love my natural hair. So I didn't know that you guys didn't know that I have curly hair. I have curly hair, but I don't have like beautiful voluptuous curls and waves. No, my hair is like ferrets and rats crawled into my head and then nested in there. Like that's literally how my hair is. So basically, this hairstyle is effortless. I take a shower at night because I wait until Tater falls asleep. You know how sometimes if you have a child, it's nice to take a shower without an audience? So now what I have to do is I have to wait for him to fall asleep, and then I take a shower at night. And when I fall asleep, sometimes I'm so tired, my hair is still wet, and it wakes up, and it's just a big old mess like this. So the only thing I do is I take Aussie's leave-in conditioner mousse. I think it's called, it used to be called Catch the Wave, but then they changed the packaging and everything. I think now it's called Sprunch. Like crunch, but with an S, well, with an SP, you know what I mean. I think it's called Sprunch now, but it's just like a purple mousse tube. And the only reason I found it was because I had a coupon and it was cheap, and now it's the only product I use to style my hair when I want to maintain the hold, you know, besides hairspray. And it just helps because it holds the style, but it's soft. You can still touch your hair. Anyway, with my long introduction, the purpose of this video is for me to share my hotter months foundation routine. I don't know where you guys live, but here in Dallas, when it is hot, it is hot. I mean, super hot. You go outside for 2 minutes, and if you're out there, you feel like you're cooking. You smell like pot roast. Like you start to smell like you are cooking. That's how hot it is here. So 5 or 6 days out of the week, I don't have anything on my face except sunscreen, my moisturizer, whatever, but like naked face to like the core, nothing on my face because it's just too much work. But I do have places to go, people to see. I'll have some stuff to take care of, like buy diapers. No. So when I do want to look nice, I go all out. And that's what I was telling you guys in a previous video in my bronze goddess panda face or whatever, that tutorial. I told you, I'm a mom. I don't typically do my makeup very often. When I do, I want it to count. So this is my foundation routine when I want it to count. Basically what I do is I take a matte full coverage foundation and I mix it halfway, so 1 part foundation and 1 part illuminator to thin out the consistency, to give myself a glowy look, but to also last throughout the day. So my favorite foundation to use to do this thing, this foundation cocktail, is the Estee Lauder Double Wear, but you could use other foundations like the Becca Complexion Cream, I think it's called, Gorgeous Cosmetics foundation. That one's really great. Any full coverage foundation, you could even take like your Kat Von D, even though it's really thick and heavy and yucky in my opinion. You could take any matte full coverage foundation and you mix it, 1 part foundation, 1 part illuminator. So what happens throughout the day is you get that nice full coverage finish, but you still have that glow. So as your foundation starts to wear off of your face because of the heat, you're not going to look like a hot mess. You're just going to look radiant and glowy because you're going to have the shimmer or the illuminating particles from the illuminator that you used. So you're kind of cheating the system. Not to mention you're thinning out an otherwise heavy foundation, and it's going to be a lot more comfortable to wear. So it's almost like you're making your own foundation. So like I said, my favorite foundation to use in the hotter months is the Estee Lauder Double Wear. I'm in the color Rattan, or 2W2, and I really like this foundation. It gives you full coverage, it's a matte finish, but when you mix in that illuminator, you still get that perfect flawless face, but with almost like a glow. I don't know if you guys can tell, maybe it's just in my head, but it gives you a really nice glow. After that, you want to find an illuminator that works for you. The illuminator that I really like and that I used until it ran out and I had to throw it away was Girl Meets Pearl. I'll list it down below in case you're curious. Girl Meets Pearl from Benefit Cosmetics is a great illuminator because it's a pearl color. So it illuminates almost all skin tones. Two illuminators that I'm loving at the moment are the Revlon Photo Ready Skin Lights in Nude, I believe it's called. No, in Bare. And the BB Plus from Gerard Cosmetics. This is a product that just got released from like the same people that do Whitening Lightning and the Dial a Smile and all those things. So they also released this product. And when I first got it, I was like, what is this? What is this thing in this black tube? It's so weird because it's like a squeezy tube, but it has a pump at the end, so it's kind of confusing. The illuminator in here, Tater says hi. The illuminator in here is really, really golden, and it does have shimmer, but it is the perfect illuminator to mix into a full coverage foundation because it takes away that like hardness about it. It softens your face. It's the one that I used, and you guys are gonna see in a minute. It's the one that I used, and you could use it as a highlight, you could use it, you know, on the center of your lips as a little bit of gloss, whatever. It's a really versatile product, but I prefer to use it in my foundation. It's a great idea because it thins out a foundation that would be otherwise too thick, and it gives you a lighter coverage, but it also gives you that glow. So I do recommend this product, but if you are wanting to try it sooner or locally, try the Revlon Skin Lights or the Benefit one that I was telling you guys about. These are great. So these are great tricks to implement into your summer foundation routine. Another thing that you want to do is you want to make sure you have a primer. And I probably should have talked about this first, but I forgot. So you want a primer that either has sun protection, that is going to prolong the wear of your makeup, that's going to blur your fine lines. You want to find out what your reason for needing a primer is. I don't have oily skin, I don't have an oily T-zone, I don't struggle with wide, big crater-sized pores, but I do have a lot of fine lines. You guys can tell just from watching me, I look like a caricature. You know, I'm a cartoon. I have so many facial expressions. I swear the muscles on my face are stronger than like a bodybuilder because I have so many facial expressions. So sadly, because I'm so emotive, I have a lot of fine lines. So I do want a primer that's going to blur those imperfections. And I really like the Benefit Porefessional. You know, I don't know, time and time will pass. I've tried so many different primers. You guys, my hair is getting out of control. I've tried so many different primers and I always come back to this one. I don't know why. I always come back to her. There's the little girl in the front, so I always come back to her. And I really, really like it. And then, of course, after you do all that jazz on your face, you want to make sure that you use a powder that's going to prolong the wear of your makeup. You don't want to look like you're wearing powder. You want to apply such a thin layer of powder so that when your skin breathes and releases its natural oils, that powder is going to freeze them in place. Does that make sense? So you're not putting on powder, you're placing it so strategically so that when your face breathes, releases its oils, or you sweat, it captures that moisture and still makes you look natural, not like you have Play-Doh on your face. Do you know what I mean? In this tutorial, I did use a concealer that I prefer to use during the summer, and although it's more emollient or creamy, I like to use it because it does have sun protection and I do have freckles. Some of you caught it in my Inglot video because I wasn't wearing very heavy foundation in that video, but I do have freckles. In this area here, I look like, what's her name? The girl from Frozen, the redhead, not the pretty blonde one with the voluptuous braid. I swear I look like her. I have those little tiny freckles all across the bridge of my nose and under my eyes. And as soon as that hot summer sun comes out, they get darker. So I prefer to use a concealer that does have sun protection because freckles are cute when you're younger, but as you get older, they don't look bad. I love freckles. I love my freckles, but the darker they get, the harder they are to lighten back up, because they are pigmentation. You know, it is hyperpigmentation. They are sunspots. So in the long run, it's going to get to a point where you can't really lighten them so much. So I like to use the Dermablend concealer. All these products that I'm sharing with you guys, I will list in the description box below in case you missed something. So this one has an SPF of 20, which really helps, but I only use this to cover my dark under eye area. So I get the one that's my color, a little bit more of a salmon tone to cover my panda eyes. And then I use the MAC Light Boost pen to just kind of highlight my face, but that's not part of my normal routine. I just did that today because I was feeling extra glamorous with my extra puffy hair and red lips. So if you guys are interested in seeing how I apply these products for my summer foundation routine, then just keep watching. Okay, the very first thing I'm gonna do is take my primer, and this is kind of my ride or die primer. I always go back to it. I tried different primers. I really like them, and for some reason, this one ends up falling in my life again. This is not a primer that's going to keep you matte if you are very oily, but it is a primer that's going to kind of blur your imperfections and camouflage those pores. And I only concentrate my primer in the center of my face. So I'm going to do like first patting motions, like I'm pushing the product into my skin. Just like that. So kind of patting motions into the face. And then once I've done that, I just blend it out towards the outside of my face. Or towards the rim of my face, or whatever you want to call it. And then just kind of blend it out. This is a dimethicone primer, so it is like a silicone primer, so it has that weird little silkiness about it. It doesn't need to dry or get absorbed. It kind of just sits on the top of your skin. After that, what I'm going to do is apply my foundation mixed with an illuminator. And you guys know that I live here in Dallas and I'm from California, so we're not used to the extreme weather. When I just moved here, I look like a hot mess with the foundation that I would apply, because in San Diego, I was just used to using whatever I wanted and never having issues with it. Here, you kind of have to twerk your... Did I just say twerk? I just said twerk. You kind of have to play around with your routine until you find something that works for you. This is a routine if you have somewhere to go that you want a full face of makeup. This is not what I do every day. In fact, 5 out of 7 days a week, I don't have anything on my face except sunscreen, or like the Miracle Blur from Loreal, where it's sunscreen and a pore or line minimizer, something like that. But usually I just have naked face. But if I'm going somewhere and I want to look nice, this is the foundation routine that I do. I take a full coverage foundation because it's what I like, but a matte full coverage foundation, because I figure with the weather how it is here, your face is naturally going to produce oils and sweat. So if you go from a matte foundation in the morning, throughout the day, it's going to transition into a dewier finish, or it's going to give you a more natural look than if you start off with a dewy finish. By lunchtime, you're going to look like you went to a water park. You know what I mean? So you want to kind of trick the weather or the condition that you're in, so that you don't look like a hot mess by lunchtime. The foundation that I like to use to achieve that look here in Dallas with this weather is the Estee Lauder Double Wear. This foundation is magic. It will keep your face looking great for hours and hours and hours, and it always makes you feel good to use it because it does have SPF of 10. I mean, that's not much, but it's something, so that always helps. And I always take 1 pump of this foundation on my hand, and because I don't want that really hardcore, intense, super full coverage, I mix it with an illuminator. What I've been loving lately, but you have to be careful when you use it, is the BB Plus from Gerard Cosmetics. This is the same company that makes my favorite glosses from Whitening Lightning, or Dial a Smile or whatever. And this is an illuminator for someone with medium skin tone. I think if you're very fair, it would look a little bit too dark. So I just take a little bit, like maybe half a pump, onto the back of my hand. Look at that, Ernie attacked me. Ernie, my Australian blue heeler, is so wild, and I always have like wounds on my skin. So mix it on the back of my hand and then just pat it on my face. You kind of want to work fast with the Double Wear because it does dry fast. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll just do like maybe half of my face, and then with whatever is left over on my hand, or you know, from blending out, I'll do the rest of my face. So I won't actually pat it on all of my face, just so that I don't get those like dry marks around where I pat it. Does that make sense? You guys, I swear, for new subscribers, I need to be like, there's a Dani dictionary available to you. So I'm taking my trusty beauty blender. You guys, I love my beauty blender. I'm all about the beauty blender life. I don't know what I did with foundation before my beauty blender. Oh, I know. I used to only use powder foundation. My very first expensive, fancy beauty product was MAC Studio Fix in the powder form. And that was my foundation, that was my powder, that was my everything. Oh my God, you guys, the sponge would get so dirty. It was so janky and nasty, but I was all about my Studio Fix powder foundation. I remember the first time I had to buy it on my own because my mom bought it for me at first. When I bought it for the first time, I was like, why is this so expensive? So can you guys tell? I have it on this side and I don't have it on this side. This side looks a little bit more raw. You know, you still see a little bit of the pink and redness. And this side still looks like normal skin, like naked normal skin, but it's almost like glowy and even. And that's kind of what you want to achieve in the summer. You don't want to be one of those girls that looks like you have 10 pounds of makeup. You put your sunglasses on and then your sunglasses peel off around your nose, on the sides of your head, wherever you're supposed to have makeup. You don't want to be one of those girls. Do not be one of those girls. Just gonna do the rest. Okay, so you guys can see my face. It looks, I feel almost like it looks covered, but glowy and radiant, you know? It does have a tiny, tiny bit of shimmer, but it's so fine, so micro. It's almost like a micro pearl shimmer. Like it's miniature, you can't really see it. In fact, it's so small that it would only give you a glow. Like it only gives you a glow. It only gives you a glow. Unless someone is like making out with you, they're not gonna be able to see that you have like sparkly stuff on your face. After I do that, so I mix the illuminator with a matte full coverage foundation to kind of dilute it or make it thinner. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this special concealer. I like to use this concealer during the summer because it does have an SPF of 20. And like I said, that always makes me feel a little bit better. I didn't know what sun was until I moved here to Dallas. If you go outside in the summer and just stand there for 2 minutes, you feel like you're cooking. Like you start to smell like bacon, basically. This is the Dermablend Smooth Indulgence Concealer. This is a medium coverage concealer, and I'm in the color Sand. I bought this color to cover the dark circles, but it's definitely too dark to highlight. You guys can see that? It's like a orange or peachy undertone, so it's going to conceal the darkness, but it's not going to highlight. So I wouldn't carry this too far down my face. This would also be a good one for blemishes or scarring if you wanted to cover that up, but it's definitely not for highlighting. Although you could buy a lighter shade and use the lighter shade for highlighting, but like I said, I just use this for my dark circles. So I pat it in with my ring finger, which is your weakest finger, and it's going to cause less pull and stress on your face. And then just take the pointy side of your beauty blender and push it into your skin. And I always look up so that I can get up to the farthest part of my lower lid. Like that. And then normally what I do is I just set everything with a really lightweight translucent powder. But because I'm going to film additional videos right now, I do want to highlight. So in case you're wondering, I'm not going to show you guys this step, but this is the MAC Prep and Prime in Light Boost. This is the yellow one. I like to use the yellow one. But that's what I'm going to use in case you're curious. And then after I do this, I'm going to show you guys how I set with my favorite setting powder for the summer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Neutrogena Shine Control Powder, and this is just a pressed powder. I think it's made with rice. So it keeps you matte. It's sheer enough to be translucent, but it's also heavy enough so that you could layer it on top. If you do have facial hair, I know this sounds like weird, but if you have facial hair, I know, like for example, I have a little bit more like fuzziness over here. You can't see it, but some women have it a little bit more visible. If you do have any type of facial hair or peach fuzz on your face, this is not a good powder because the powder will cling to the powder. The powder will cling to the hair. So you would have to spray with, you know, rose water or Max Fix Plus or a B6 spray, something afterwards so that you couldn't see the powder on top of the hair. So it is a good powder. It does keep you matte, but keep that in mind. Also, I think if you were a lot more tan, or I would even say if you know, are a woman of color, it would probably look white on your skin. So I wouldn't try it, because if you see, I'm light to medium skin tone, and you guys can see that on the tip of my finger. So it is kind of white, but it is something that helps me. So, you know, keep that in mind. Plus you could get it with coupons and on sale. I'm going to take my Wayne Goss #2 brush. I got this when I was at IMATS. This brush has changed my life, my whole being. And I'm going to do that, use that underneath to set my concealer first, because I don't want that to crease. Tater says hi. And then all the areas that I highlighted, the center of my face, my chin. And then with a bigger brush, this is the Real Techniques blush brush. This is my powder brush. Look how big it is. The more you use it, the bigger it gets. I can't imagine putting blush with this on. I mean, I guess you could. But I do use this for powder, so I just give it a little swirl in there and kind of puff it on the bigger areas of my face. And that is my current foundation routine. Again, this is the face that I do when I have something to do, where I want to have a full face of makeup, because girls, let me be honest with you guys, in the summer, it's not comfortable to wear so much makeup. So 5 out of 7 days, I have a naked, naked, naked face. Let me finish my makeup and I'll be right back. It is very easy. I use my beauty blender. You guys know I'm obsessed with my beauty blender. It is a really easy way to just get a fresh face but still look really put together, glowy and radiant. I'd love to know if you guys have any recommendations on illuminators, or maybe a foundation that works for you during the summer, because you guys know I'm from California and I'm not used to, even though I've been here for several years, I am not used to this hot summer sun. And just foundations, the only one that does not completely melt off my face is the Estee Lauder Double Wear. So maybe you guys have another secret recipe you guys can share with me. Products that I mentioned will be listed in the description box below, along with where I got my necklace, my shirt, blah, blah, blah. All of those details are always in the description box below. And as always, if you guys found this video useful or entertaining or learned something, please give me a thumbs up or subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, this coffee break is over. Bye, guys.